My experience here, the best experience in this trip was I didn't know the kids when we came. I didn't know their names. I didn't know their positions. I had very, very little knowledge with 2 practices. So being able to come here and now see that they really truly have a love for me, it's just an awesome feeling.
Here, in, out, in, out. Come on, you guys, pick up your feet. So what happened right there is because you're keeping your heels in the ground. That's why you keep touching the lotto.
I've always liked baseball, but my dad was a pretty big influence on me. And we were playing catch when I was really little, and we were always like the TV. I mean, baseball was always on the TV. So yeah, I kind of started liking baseball when I was pretty young.
Well, I think it was like a different sort of challenge because they play a different way with more bunts and stealing bases differently, and also the different climate. It's harder to play with all the heat.
I was excited to meet new people here, and I was kind of nervous at first, but then when I got here, I found out people are very nice and caring, and I just liked playing here.
They weren't as good as I thought they were gonna be, but they still were pretty good, and they were like very nice. Like when we met after the game and stuff, they were pretty cool. And a couple of them signed my book.
The experience has been a beautiful experience, right? The process is, of getting the kids here, 26 kids is a lot of kids. I didn't know any of the kids, but 1 month before the trip, I got able to coach the kids 2 practices because we got rained out because of all the storms. And it's a beautiful experience being able to be with those kids. They needed to learn a lot about baseball. They knew what baseball was, but a lot of different movements, a lot of different things that they're going to experience in the upper levels, they had no clue. So that's where I came in, and I felt like they needed my help to get them above that curve. The first 2 days of games, right? I'm yelling, trying to get them to understand the different things. They finally got a chance to understand what I was getting, what I wanted from them, and then I understood what I was going to get from them. And so last day, the last game that we did, the 10 innings, right, was really a wonderful experience because now they understood. They started playing the game that's going to be played at the next level, right? And so that was the process. I really think it's a wonderful thing. I think the kids really learned a lot, right? I learned a lot about the kids, right? I love kids, so I wanted to continue to mentor them and take them back home and continue to develop them, for saying, at home. Yeah, my thought process on that, he was coming set, then taking his hand out, and then going back in. right? And that's a balk. And so when the umpire called it over, I seen the balk, right, several times, but they didn't call it. And when he said that he wanted me to warn him, no, you call it next time. It's the only way that they're going to learn, right? I go and tell him to do it, and he continues to do it, and they don't call it, then he's never going to learn. It's like getting someone off the base at a decent lead. If they stay close to the bag and never get out, right, on a pickoff play, then they won't learn.
Yep.
Right? They have to be able to take themselves to that level to be able to come back and be able to learn the lessons. And that was kind of what the thought process was. So after they called the balk, I went out and explained to him why he was called, and then he was able to channel that, right, and then being able to, from that point on, no more balks, right? And so that was kind of what I was trying to get from him.
So what I expected from the baseball, from the Cuba players, my expectations were high. I already knew that they were going to be really good players. I know Cuba has a lot of talent. I mean, we had Yoenis Cespedes in the Oakland Athletics, and I was a huge fan of his. And we just had Rosarena play represent Mexico, and he's Cuban. So we knew that we were coming to a country where baseball was huge and a lot of talent. So I knew that it was going to be hard. It was going to be good competition. And so I knew that they were going to win, and they deserve it. They deserve it because they're really, really good players. And I think that our players, they learned from this experience. They learned from their style of, playing. And I know that our kids are taking a lot of knowledge from here back to Oakland.
Dominic Corber, he's my best friend.
Coach Thomas said, take the first pitch, so I took the first pitch. Then Coach Thomas said, swing away. So I just swung, it was a slider inside, just swung and it went far.
Like right off the bat, we could tell that ball was going far. So we like we were sitting down, and then when he made contact, like the sound, we all got up in our seats. We're like, oh my God.
I was thinking about being a triple. But then Coach Thomas waved me home. So I just started going home, and I just slid head first into home.
So I ran to him, I told him, he's the man, he's the man. And it was fun. That was the first home run we seen here, and it was a great hit. It was hit hard. It was good.
And it was so exciting. It felt like this moment that he would have forever, that he would remember forever. And the thing I said before about this being life-changing, I think that moment in the sun, as they say in the song, is probably going to stick with him forever. And for me, it kind of symbolized, if you open your heart to something, great things can happen. And I feel that way. I'm so glad we went for a lot of different reasons, but just to see that growth and change in him, even if he doesn't realize it now, I think maybe someday he'll really get this, and that's my hope.
Ok, tenemos que buscar una posición bastante cómoda.
Importante, el codo por encima del hombro.
Get away from it, get away. Everything started 30 years ago. When I was one of those guys that you guys play today, I was one of those guys with nothing, no shoes, nothing, really poor. And then I remember that every time that my coach said, we're playing against this American team that's coming tomorrow. So to me, it was like, this is my opportunity to shine, because playing these guys, if I'm doing a good job, so they can give me some sneakers, they can give me some food for me to play and continue my career, because I didn't have nothing, right? And then I promised myself one day, say, you know what, one day I'm gonna be one of those guys that come in here and then they give it. Because that's what I know life is all about. It's how much you give, it's not how much you receive.
Because out in America, we have a lot more things, so we take stuff for granted. And when we come out here, you see people less fortunate and they don't have as much stuff as us. So that teaches me to not be so closed-minded and to like be nicer to other people, because they might not be as fortunate as me, or they might be struggling, but they don't want you to know that. So just like treat everybody nicely.
Players, it just fills me up with joy, even since the first game, when after the game was over and I noticed that they were giving them like the LA Dodgers stuff, and I started crying. It made me feel so happy inside and so joyful, because I know like the necessity that, this kind of Latin American countries have. In Mexico, I go and see, and we also give back, because I know that, they need stuff, and I know that they have the same passion and love for baseball as our kids, and they also deserve an opportunity. And it just made me so happy and so proud of the whole experience, to see them smile. And then some players, because I speak Spanish, to some players or family members reach out, come to me, and we'll have conversations and talk about their kids and just baseball and the whole experience. So I'm so happy. I'm so happy for them and for the boys that they had this experience.
This time in Cuba, I think my perspective changed a little bit. I think actually looking at it now, it's a little bit selfish to say this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. This is really a life-changing experience, and not just for me, but for my son, every player we played against, every coach we played against. I think it changed my perspective on everything, the politics, the importance of the sport, the real love that people have for one another, despite barriers that are between them, despite the barriers of language or the barriers of politics or whatever may be there. You have this great love of the game that transcends all that. And I saw that with my son. He's talking about his friends, the Cuban players, and I love that. He wore a pair of cleats to the game today, and he gave them away. They were on his feet and he gave them away. I want to thank Michelle for pushing us forward to do this. Like, I think his whole life is kind of built around baseball and the love of his culture. And so when he opened up his heart and opened up his country to us, it wasn't that easy, right? You have to get passports, you have to get visas, you have to do all this planning. When he did that, he's making this huge impact in the world. And the story he told me at the airport about him affecting the culture and bringing people in, he's doing that, and the fact that the ambassador wanted to meet with us, a lot of people didn't want to do that, they wanted to go shopping or something, and I thought, this is an important moment, this is really important, this is history.